r/AskReddit. What is, in your opinion, the biggest flaw of the human body? That we can bite the insides of our own cheeks. I'm sure plenty of you know the pain of accidentally biting down on your cheek. Tell me about it. Both my wisdom teeth in my upper jaw have protruded a bit and are now inclined towards the cheeks. I end up accidentally biting them, and my tongue very frequently can't wait to get those extracted. No. Don't get your cheeks and tongue extracted. You'll regret it, big time. What? I never heard anyone say they regret having their tongue extracted. Breathing hole equals food hole. Squids have it worse. Food passes through their brains. But then again, I have never heard of a squid choking to death on a bite of bruschetta. Of course not. The bruschetta gets soggy underwater. Exactly. Squids always drown the bruschetta, so it doesn't escape. That's patently untrue. We break its neck first. Pretty much any autoimmune disease. The body can literally kill itself trying to protect itself. Attention. Task failed successfully. Agreed. I have lupus and Crohn's disease, and I tell people that my immune system is a bunch of sugar-hyped 3-year-olds trying to put away the dishes. My god, they try so hard, but they fucking break everything. Just Crohn's for me. During my flare, the doc didn't think I was going to make it. Now, my medication works great, assuming it doesn't give me cancer. No Crohn's, just lupus, which has caused cancer. Can't treat the cancer because lupus. Can't treat the lupus because cancer. So try not to get cancer, because that'll mess up your autoimmune disorder. Is there any chance they'll cooperate and you'll become Deadpool? Put all these comments together, and the human body seems like it's all just a piece of junk. It's never been the survival of the fittest, it's the survival of the good enough and lucky. People just don't understand what fittest actually means. Allergies, or said another way, your immune system flipping the fuck out because you bumped into a peanut, dust mite, shrimp, cat, etc. The immune system is like an undisciplined army of mercenaries you keep inside your body. They can brutally slay a lot of enemies, but sometimes they just get bored and start attacking civilians. Except they are not there when you need them. Peanut? Viagra? Cancer? Can't do it. Sorry bud, you're on your own. Cancer is more like a mercenary gone rogue that the other mercenaries don't recognize as a baddie. This man's a veteran. A hero. He couldn't possibly have defected. This gives me an idea for a gritty R-rated Osmosis Jones live action remake. BRB heading to Kickstarter. There are many. But, notably to me is how easily damaged the knee joints and the spine are. They're next to impossible completely repair. Once damaged they are never really right again. Knees make no damn sense. Our switch from quadrupedal to bipedal was too fast and fucked up a lot of things in our body, knees being one of them. We should try tentacles or tank treads next time. How about helicopter blades? The fact that 80% of people don't grow in their teeth straight, and also that it takes a year or more to correct. As someone who had braces for 4 years until like a week and a half ago, I agree with this. And then you have to wear retainers for a long ass time. Dentists recommend wearing them for basically every night for your whole life. Fuck's sake. Don't listen to the other commenter, wear that shit every day and night. Do not regret wasting 4 years and thousands of dollars. Someone who deeply regrets not wearing their retainers more than nightly for a year and wasted 4 years of braces and thousands of dollars. Can confirm, my top teeth are fine, and that's what really counts, but my bottom teeth shifted so that I have a couple of overlapping teeth. Don't notice it 90% of the time, but it would be nice if young, dumb me had followed instructions. How close the food pipe and windpipe are. Apparently it has something to do with those peculiarly specific mouth sounds we make, or so I'm told. Like something got shortened a bit to make that easier, and then choking became a possibility. Other apes don't have descended larynx like ours, so they can breathe and eat at the same time, but they can only pronounce a few vowel sounds. Having a lower larynx is actually talk the way we do, but yeah, choking is the trade-off. In other mammals the larynx is high up, close to the mouth, and the epiglottis can make a secure seal with the soft palate roof at the back of the mouth. Basically our larynx is descended too much, and there is no watertight seal between the mouth cavity and the airways. The way the nasal cavity is above the mouth, and then it switches, so that the esophagus is above, behind, the trachea makes me think that, if I were designing a human, our noses would be below our mouths. That way the larynx's default state can be closed, and the only time it opens is if our nose is blocked and we need to breathe through our mouths. Evolution is full of nightmare design issues that come from having to be able to function in every evolutionary step of the transformation. Check out the vagus nerve, which exits the brain, loops down around the aorta before climbing back up to the head. Ectopic pregnancy. Ovaries are ovulating and doing their things. Eggs and whatnot. An egg decides enough is enough, and with the help of a hormone surge, wants out of that shit. Bigger and better things. So the egg literally punches out, and is supposed to go straight into the fallopian tubes, get fertilized while inside the tubes, and then plant in the uterus. You would think that the entrance of the fallopian tubes would connect right to the ovary? Nah, the opening of the fallopian tube has these little hairs, fimbriae, that are like wacky inflatable tube men in front of sketchy used car lots, and kind of guide the egg into the fallopian tube. Sometimes, the eggs don't feel like it going, and they venture off. And if fertilized, it's considered an ectopic pregnancy. It can plant anywhere in the abdominal cavity at that point. Most of the time, it will die because it has to plant in a well-vascularized region to be viable. Sometimes, it finds a good, bloody spot and starts growing there. At that point it's essentially a tumor, and if it can eat enough into a blood vessel, it can rupture and bleed like shit. You would think that millions of years of evolution would create a fallopian tube that opens up right to the ovary, but that's not the case. As someone who had emergency surgery yesterday for a live ectopic, I completely agree. Ectopics are rare, and getting pregnant on the Mirena coil is extremely rare, but I'm proof it happens. Ladies, if you have a Mirena and pregnancy symptoms, do a test just to make sure. Catching my ectopic early is what saved my life. Also, shout out to the doctor who, even though I experienced no symptoms of an ectopic, was worried enough to book an emergency scan, and to the scan technician who very briefly caught a glimpse of something, and chose to further explore. His diligence and her persistence prevented a very serious situation. The fact that there's so many things you can do to the human body without killing it. But OF slept wrong and pinched a nerve, now I'm F paralyzed. Didn't happen to me, but happened to a semi-distant family member a year ago. Edit. Holy F, this comment took off. Edit 2. To everybody getting paranoid in my replies. Don't worry. He was sleeping in a crowded camper on a small couch in a very awkward position. This isn't a very common thing, but it does happen to people. So long as you sleep relatively well, you shouldn't have a problem. Oh god, I've had sleeping fears over the Reddit post of the guy who had a stroke from pulling a blood vessel in his neck sleeping wrong. Periods. Most other animals who have menstruation cycle, or something like it, reabsorb the uterine lining, rather than shedding it out, and causing women to suffer from painful bleeding out of their vaginas for 5 to 6 days once a month. Edit. I think that, if we have to shed it, it should be a voluntary sphincter, like controlling when you pee. So women don't have to spend so much money on pads and tampons, don't have to worry about bleeding through, can stress-free wear a bikini, etc. Teeth cannot repair themselves, I think. If a bone can heal back together, why the hell can't a tooth fill in a macro hole? In a natural state, teeth are pretty damn important. Edit. Just want to say thanks to all for the upvotes. It does not go unappreciated. May we all have perfect teeth forever. Yet another flaw with our teeth. Even with brushing and flossing, as you get older, you can experience bone loss that can cause an infection under the tooth, which may lead to the loss of the tooth, which is happening to me right now. I like teeth to kind of regenerate, just not the outside hard enamel. Dentin, the softer mineralized tissue underneath the enamel layer, does grow slowly out from the pulp over time, if there's a hole. The problem is that it's not nearly as resistant to injury by plaque bacterial acid as enamel, so any hole in modern mouths will lead to rapid decay of the dentin underneath. It can't be replaced nearly as fast as it is lost. Also, it's sensitive to pain, so exposed dentin hurts too. Unless dentistry intervenes, the hole grows into the vulnerable central pulp of the tooth. Bacteria get in there, and the tooth gets infected and probably dies. If we didn't eat so many sugars and starches, like we do with modern post-agricultural diets, our teeth would be subjected to much less acid, and we'd not have nearly the problems we do with tooth decay.